A few people left comments on previous videos of mine wanting to know my view on David Price weighing in at a career heaviest 273 pounds ahead of his fight tonight. I believe it's 273, not 275. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, David Price is a very big heavyweight, as we all know. And in my experience watching boxing over the decades, when a heavyweight as big as him, or just a very big heavyweight in general, adds a whole heap of extra weight, it's normally to their detriment. When you are that big, your main advantage is height and reach, strength, usually power, and your main weakness is lack of speed, lack of mobility, and in most cases, you don't have as sharper reflexes as a lot of the smaller guys, particularly the small athletic guys. So by piling on all this extra weight, particularly when it's done in one go, although, you know, he's had a long time out since the Tepper fight, so maybe he's put it on incrementally, I don't know. But either way, putting on a whole heap of extra weight, I just think he is increasing the advantage of his opponents, his smaller opponents. And again, I'm talking about when he's fighting smaller opponents, not when he's fighting somebody the same size as him. He's increasing their advantage in terms of speed. Now, if David Price was the kind of guy who uses his body weight and his size to lean on opponents and push them down, particularly if we're talking about pressure fighters, like a Derek Chisora, for example. If he was the kind of guy that pushes a Derek Chisora back, leans on him and all that, and if he was an inside fighter, then maybe the extra weight could help him to some extent in certain fights. He might be able to put on certain, weight in certain fights and use it tactically. But David Price is not an inside fighter. He's not a physical guy. I don't see him becoming that type of fighter at this point in his career, although he may prove me wrong. But I can't see it myself. I just see this as being a last-ditch attempt by David Price to try and add some extra punch resistance. That's what I see it as. I watched an interview with his trainer, Dave Coldwell, and Coldwell said that in David Price's last few fights, particularly the Tepper fight, he was too light, and to quote him exactly, he said, David didn't look right. That's what he said. So I guess on a subconscious level, David Price is thinking, if I add extra weight, I'll increase my punch resistance. I'll feel stronger. It's the Aamir Khan syndrome. And I never believed it when Khan was always saying it, because I never felt that Khan was actually naturally very big. And with David Price, he's never had to cut weight. He's never had to drain himself. So even when he was weighing 245, 250 pounds, he was never drained. So in my view, there is absolutely no way that he's going to have better punch resistance now than he did when he was smaller. He might have, as I say, extra bulk to push fighters around, to lean on fighters, which is something he don't normally do. But when somebody cracks him on the chin clean, I expect the exact same results as before. You can't put muscles on chins. I don't care how much extra weight you put on. Your chin is not going to get no better. The only time, and just to reiterate, the only time that adding weight can increase punch resistance is when you've been draining yourself previously. And I'm talking about like Tony Bellew level draining yourself. Tony Bellew was 200 pounds for the majority of his amateur career, certainly in the last few years of his amateur career, 200 pounds. And then he drained 25 pounds to fight at light heavyweight as a professional. That's a lot of weight. He had to do all types of stuff which his body wasn't used to doing to get down 25 pounds to light heavyweight. So when he rehydrated back up and when he started fighting at cruiserweight again, it's understandable that his body would feel a sense of relief and that his energy stores would be better and he'd be stronger fighting at 200 pounds because that's really his natural weight. David Price has not gone through anything like that. He's just piling on extra weight on top of his already natural weight, which is about 250 when he's trained hard. So don't get it twisted. There is occasions when fighters can train too hard, even heavyweights. They call it overtraining, and they can leave it all in the gym and drain themselves. Has David Price been doing that his whole career? I mean, anything is possible, but I seriously doubt it. So weighing in at 273, it might not catch up to him in this fight, although we'll see. The guy he's fighting is substantially smaller than he is. We'll see, but in the long run, David Price might see this as some type of psychological cushion, subconscious psychological cushion, but I don't think it's going to work. The only thing that's going to work is in improving his skills, particularly learning how to defend himself better, learning how to tie people up and lean on them and all that type of stuff. He didn't do it successfully in the Tepper fight. He was far too, what's the word for it? Apprehensive, polite on the inside against Tepper to actually get Tepper under control. I mean, to be fair, Tepper was, souped up to the eyeballs and all types of PEDs. But still, if you can imagine a Tyson Fury or a Vladimir Klitschko in there against Tepper, they would have been a lot more assertive on the inside against him. They would have really stuck the elbow down in the back of his neck, grabbed him, pushed him, been a lot more rough with him on the inside. Price is just a little bit polite when it comes to getting physical with fighters. So those are my thoughts on him weighing a career heaviest. I don't see it helping him unless he's going to become this really physical fighter. And maybe he is. I guess we'll see when the fight takes place and subsequent fights if he gets past this one. Against somebody like Anthony Joshua, for example, I think weighing this much would be a massive disadvantage because Joshua is fast for a guy of his size, very athletic, good reflexes for a guy who's 6'6". Price is only 2 inches taller than Joshua. So weighing 273 against Joshua, I think would be absolute suicide. If he wants to give himself the best chances of beating Joshua, he's going to need to get lighter, have his reflexes as fast as possible, etc. So yeah, those are my thoughts, people. Drop yours in the comment section below if you haven't done so already on previous videos. All right, it's your boy Hatman. I'm out.